Trigonometry is a branch of mathematics that studies the relationships involving lengths and angles of triangles. There's an acronym that I want you to get familiar with and memorize. It's called SOH CAH TOA. You have the first letter stands for sine, then opposite, hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse, tangent, opposite, adjacent. And how does that look as a fraction or an equation? It's going to be sine. This little symbol here is called theta, represents degrees, is equal to the opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. So triangles that you may see may come to you like this, where you have to find x given an angle. You will always use, you will need to find and work with right triangles. So establish hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the 90. This is the angle that's given. So the side opposite that angle, we actually call it opposite, and the adjacent is the side that's also touching this angle. That's forming the side that's also forming this angle. One of them would be called adjacent, the other one hypotenuse. Okay, the equation is set up like this: sine and then the degree, 30 degrees, and let's use that symbol, is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite. Notice that in this problem, after you label all the sides and you determine, okay, we've got to find x, and x is on the opposite side, and we're given 17, which is representing the hypotenuse, then we can use sine, because sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. Okay, if you had one that come to you like this, okay, you want to go ahead and label your sides. From this angle here, this is opposite. Here's your 90, so therefore that's your hypotenuse, and this is the adjacent side. Okay, after you label all three sides, then you ask yourself what's given. Well, x and 17 are the two sides given. We have to find x. It's the opposite. We're given hypotenuse. So sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. Create the equation using this angle and the opposite and hypotenuse. Okay, and you would comma x, menu 3-1. For cosine, to find x, okay, make sure you're labeling the triangles, the sides of the triangle, and make sure you identify your right angle, and then immediately establish where the hypotenuse is. Okay, then what else is given? This angle here, 30 degrees, so opposite that angle, call it opposite, and this is the adjacent side. Now, what are we asked to find? X, which is on the adjacent side, and we're given hypotenuse. So this is going to use cosine, because cosine is adjacent and hypotenuse. So cosine 30 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, if you had this one, where 60 degrees is given up here, okay, and you got your 90, label the sides. The side opposite the 90 is hypotenuse. The side opposite this angle here is called opposite, and the side that's adjacent to it, we call it ADJ for short, adjacent. Now ask yourself what's given. We're given this side x, and we're given this side 10, which those two sides are adjacent and hypotenuse. That uses cosine. So cosine that angle inside parentheses with the degree symbol is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So my adjacent goes on top, hypotenuse on the bottom, comma x, menu 3-1 net. Tangent. Get a triangle like this, establish your 90, go ahead and label the hypotenuse, the side opposite the 90, this is hypotenuse. Here's my 30 degree angle that's given. The side opposite of it is called opposite, and therefore adjacent is the side adjacent to this angle. Now, what are we given? We're given x and we're given 15, and we have to find x. Well, what trig function uses opposite and adjacent? Well, that's tangent. So tangent uses opposite and adjacent. So I'll put tangent in parentheses, the angle, set up my fraction, opposite over adjacent, comma x. Menu 3-1 that. Okay, you may have a triangle where it looks like this, and the given angle is way up here. Okay, here's your 90. Go ahead and establish your hypotenuse. Opposite the 90 is hypotenuse. Opposite this angle is called opposite. And then our adjacent sits right there next to it. Okay, we're asked to find x, which involves opposite and adjacent. So that's tangent. Tangent uses opposite and adjacent. Well, opposite goes on top, okay, and adjacent goes on the bottom. Menu 3-1 that. Okay, remember the acronym. Sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent theta equals opposite over adjacent.